Video opens on a grainy, overexposed shot of a sun-bleached playground in the late afternoon. The film looks like it's from the 1980s. The swings are empty. The only sound is the faint, rhythmic creaking of a swing chain in the wind and the distant drone of cicadas. Have you ever felt a sudden, sharp pang of loss for something you never actually lost? Not a person, or an object. A memory. A perfect, sun-drenched memory from your childhood that, for years, served as a foundational stone of who you are. Then, one day, you reach for it, and find it's been tainted. Corrupted. The emotional texture is all wrong. It's still your memory, but it no longer feels like it belongs to you. We call this phenomenon narrative hijacking. It's the subtle, insidious process by which an external force seizes control of your personal history, rewriting its meaning without your consent. And by the end of this video, I will show you not only how this psychological coup d'etat is orchestrated, but I will give you the tools to reclaim the territory of your own past. The power of a symbol. How friend hijacked a childhood memory, the title fades. We transition to a slow-motion shot of a child's hand drawing in a dusty notebook. The focus is tight, the film grain heavy. Phase 2. The problem: you have a place you go to in your mind. A safe house. For many of us, it's a memory from when we were 9, or 10, or 12. A time before the crushing weight of consequence had fully settled in. Maybe it's the specific smell of a grandparent's house, dust motes dancing in the afternoon light, the scent of old paper and boiled sweets. Maybe it's the feeling of freedom on the last day of school, the endless expanse of a summer stretching out before you, shimmering like heat haze on asphalt. These memories are more than just recollections. They are anchors. They are the control group against which you measure the chaos of your adult life. They whisper a fundamental truth. There was a time when things were simple. When you were whole. That person is still inside you. Now, I want you to hold one of those memories in your mind. Feel its warmth. Its purity. Have you ever had one of them stolen? I don't mean forgotten. I mean something worse. It happened when you learned a new piece of information. When you discovered a secret about someone who was in that memory with you. A friend who betrayed you. A parent who wasn't who you thought they were. Suddenly, the memory shifts. The sun-drenched field is now hiding a dark secret. The laughter of your friends now sounds hollow, a prelude to an inevitable fracture. The face of a loved one is no longer a source of comfort, but a mask. The memory is still there. The facts haven't changed. But its meaning has been violently rewritten. It is no longer a safe house. It's a haunted house. This is the hidden cost of narrative hijacking. It's not just about one spoiled memory. When a foundational memory is corrupted, it sends a virus backwards and forwards through your timeline. You begin to doubt your own past. If you were so wrong about that, what else were you wrong about? You begin to distrust your own judgment. The story you tell yourself about yourself starts to unravel. You feel like a stranger in your own history. A tourist in the ruins of your own childhood. And nowhere is this psychological theft more brilliantly, and terrifyingly, illustrated than in the story of a man who called himself friend. Phase 3. The solution: we see a heavily stylized, almost abstract shot of a figure in a simple, smiling mask, standing before a massive crowd. The image is distorted, as if seen on a faulty television screen. In Naoki Urasawa's magnum opus, 20th Century Boys, a group of middle-aged men discover that a mysterious cult leader, known only as Friend, is bringing about the end of the world by following a script they wrote as children. A playbook for a make-believe game of saving the world, now twisted into a blueprint for its destruction. Friend is the ultimate narrative hijacker. He doesn't build his empire on new ideas. He builds it on a stolen childhood. He understands a fundamental truth about human psychology. The most powerful stories are the ones we already believe. His method is a masterclass in psychological warfare. Let's call it the theft of symbols. It breaks down into 3 distinct principles. Principle 1. Identify the shared anchor. Friend's power does not come from creating something new. It comes from finding something old and potent. He locates a powerful, shared memory that served as an emotional anchor for a small group of friends. Their secret base, in a vacant lot, and their book of prophecy, a scrapbook where they imagined fighting giant robots and evil organizations. This memory was an island of perfect friendship, imagination, and belonging. It was their sacred text. He knew that to control them, and eventually the world, he didn't need to write a new Bible. He just needed to become the new editor of the old one. Principle 2. Isolate and reframe the symbols. A memory is not a single block. It is a constellation of symbols. The secret base. The flag with the I logo. The songs played on an acoustic guitar. The prophecies of a virus. Friend's genius was to carefully extract these symbols from their original context. He took the I logo, a child's doodle representing their little club, and severed its connection to friendship and innocence. He then reframed it, attaching it to a new and terrifying meaning: surveillance, authority, and his own quasi-divine presence. The symbol was the same, but the story it told was now his. He did this with every element of their past. The book of prophecy was no longer a child's fantasy, it was a sacred text foretelling his destiny. The act of saving the world was no longer a game, it was a mandate for his global takeover. Principle 3. Broadcast the new meaning. A reframed symbol is useless in a vacuum. Its power comes from repetition and scale. Friend plastered his hijacked logo everywhere. On flags, on uniforms, on television screens. He broadcast his version of their shared story to the entire world, repeating it so relentlessly that the new, corrupted meaning completely overrode the original. For the heroes of the story, this is a profound psychological violation. They look at the symbol of their childhood innocence and feel nothing but dread. Friend has reached back in time and poisoned the well from which they all drank. Think of it like this. Your memory is a map. It has landmarks, borders, and safe territories. A narrative hijacker is a rogue cartographer. They don't burn your map. They find the most important location, your capital city, and they change its name. They erase Fortress of Friendship and write in Citadel of Betrayal. Then, they print millions of copies of this new, altered map and distribute them to everyone, including you. After a while, everyone starts calling that place by its new name. Eventually, even you forget what it was called before. The territory is the same. The lines are the same. But the meaning has been conquered. Friend conquered the world not with armies, but by becoming the sole, authorized publisher of a new map for a shared past. But a map can be redrawn. A story can be reauthored. The hijacker only wins if you accept their edits as the final draft. Phase 4. The application. So, how do you fight back? How do you perform a counter-heist on your own history? This is not about erasing the bad parts. You cannot unlearn what you know, or unfeel what you felt. This is about narrative reclamation. It's an active, conscious process of becoming the author of your own story again. Here are 4 steps. This is a practical guide. Step 1. Perform a narrative autopsy. You must separate the original event from the corrupting event. Take a piece of paper or open a document. Draw a line down the middle. On the left side, write down the original memory. The before. Be forensic. Use all your senses. What did the air smell like? What music was playing? What was the exact feeling in your chest? Write it down as if it were a self-contained, perfect snow globe. On the right side, write down the event that hijacked it. The moment you learned the truth. The betrayal. The discovery. Be just as detailed. Now look at them, side by side. They are 2 separate stories. One did not erase the other, it merely cast a shadow over it. The goal of this exercise is to see the seam. To recognize that the good memory existed, pure and true, before the corruption. You are breaking the false narrative that they were always one and the same. Step 2. Isolate the hijacked symbol. Every hijacked memory has a symbolic core. A specific trigger. It could be a song you shared with an ex-partner. A restaurant where you received bad news. The face of a person who let you down. Identify it. Write it down. The song, Landslide, by Fleetwood Mac. The view from Griffith Observatory. My father's smile in that one photograph. Now, you must perform a cognitive reset. Look at the symbol and consciously acknowledge that it is, in itself, neutral. A song is just a collection of notes. A place is just geography. A face is just a collection of features. They are vessels. They contain the meaning you pour into them. The hijacker poured poison into the vessel. Your job is to recognize that the vessel itself is not poison. Step 3. Create new anchors. You cannot defeat an old association simply by willing it away. You must override it with new, more powerful associations. This is the most crucial, and most difficult, step. You must intentionally create new, positive memories connected to the hijacked symbol. If a song was ruined, you must create a reclamation playlist. Put the song in the middle of other songs you love, and listen to it while you are doing something that makes you feel strong and happy. A long drive. A workout. Cooking a meal for people you love. You are intentionally forging a new neural pathway. At first, it will feel painful and strange. But with repetition, the new, positive anchor will begin to weaken the old, negative one. If a place was tainted, you must revisit it. But you do not go alone. You go with people who make you feel safe and loved today. You go and you consciously make a new memory there. You take a new photograph. You laugh. You are overriding the old data with new data. You are planting a new flag on conquered territory. Step 4. Re-author the narrative. The final step is to integrate the story into a new, more powerful whole. You do this by changing the language you use to describe it to yourself. The old story was, this beautiful memory was ruined. It was all a lie. The new story is, asterisk, I have a memory of a time that was pure and innocent. Later, events happened that were painful and changed my understanding of it. That pain is real, but it does not have the power to erase the truth of the original moment. My story is not one of a memory that was ruined. It is the story of my resilience in holding both the beauty and the pain, and choosing to define myself by my strength, not by my wounds. You are no longer a victim of your past. You are the curator of it. You are acknowledging the shadow, but you are choosing to turn your face towards the light that created it. A slow, panning shot across a messy desk. It's covered in old photos, newspaper clippings with circled text, and hand-drawn maps. The aesthetic is that of a detective or a researcher on the brink of a breakthrough. Phase 5. The proof. Does this work? Is it merely a psychological trick, a form of self-deception? The proof is embedded in the resolution of the story that inspired this analysis. How do Kenji and his friends ultimately defeat Friend? They don't. Not really. They cannot erase the decades of terror he inflicted. They cannot undo the deaths or the destruction. They cannot scrub the world clean of his hijacked symbols. So what do? They hijack them back. Kenji picks up his guitar. He doesn't play a new song. He plays the same song he wrote as a child, the one Friend stole and twisted into a doomsday anthem. But when Kenji plays it, he pours all the original meaning back into it: friendship, rebellion, hope, a little bit of teenage stupidity. He broadcasts the original context on a global stage, reminding everyone what the song was supposed to be about. They don't tear down the I logo. They remind the world that it was just a doodle drawn by a kid in a field, a symbol of a promise between friends to stick together. They reclaim their narrative. In the end, Friend is not defeated by a punch or a bomb. He is defeated when the world stops believing in his story and starts believing in theirs again. He is defeated by a better story. This fictional struggle mirrors a very real therapeutic practice known as narrative therapy. Developed by psychologists Michael White and David Epstein, its core premise is that individuals are not their problems. The individual has a life story, and the problem has become a dominant, oppressive part of that story. The therapist's job is to help the person see the gaps, contradictions, and forgotten chapters where they resisted the problem. The goal is to re-author their own life story into one where they are the protagonist with agency and strength, not the victim of a monolithic, unchangeable past. We are, all of us, the stories we tell ourselves. History is filled with examples on a macro scale. The swastika was an ancient, sacred symbol of peace and well-being for thousands of years across multiple cultures. Then, in the 20th century, it was subjected to the most profound and horrific act of symbolic hijacking in human history. Its original meaning was not just overwritten, it was almost completely erased from Western consciousness by a new, monstrous association. The battle over symbols is the battle over meaning itself. And the battle for your own memories is the battle for the integrity of your own identity. The shot holds on a single, faded photograph of a group of children, smiling, frozen in a perfect summer moment. Their faces are full of a hope they can't possibly understand. ## Phase 6. The call to action. The past is not a fixed, concrete monument. It is a living story, and it is being rewritten every single day, whether you are the one holding the pen or not. The forces of the world, people, events, ideologies, are constantly trying to hijack your symbols and reframe your history to suit their own narratives. Your personal memories are the last bastion. They are your territory. Defend it. I want you to think about this carefully. And then, I want you to go down to the comments and share your answer to this question. What is a song, a place, or a movie from your past whose meaning has been completely transformed for you by a later event? Tell us the story of the symbol. Reading each other's stories is a way of mapping these shared experiences. If you believe that the past is a puzzle box, and that the patterns of history are hiding in plain sight, you are in the right place. We are building a community of researchers and archivists of the forgotten. Subscribe to Hello, Yesterday. The process of symbols overriding reality is a form of mimetic warfare. To truly understand how ideas themselves can become ghosts that haunt our culture, you need to watch our investigation into a very different kind of hijacker. The video is called, The Laughing Man, Anatomy of a Ghost. Click the link on your screen. The final shot is the same as the opening, the empty, sun-bleached playground. The creaking of the swing is the only sound. The image holds for a few seconds, grainy and timeless, before fading to black.